Hey Canucks fans, hope you're well on this Sunday. Fresh off of that bad 5-1 loss to the Boston Bruins last night. Those big, bad, ugly Boston Bruins. Brad Marchand doing the Hulk Hogan, cupping his ear. Head coach Rick Tocchet has mixed up his lines, not just his lines, but his D-Pairings in an attempt to change things up, to change the luck of the team, to change the chemistry, to change the production, basically the bottom line of this Vancouver Canucks team. So let's go through at least what we saw at practice earlier this morning. Likely going to stick for, you usually don't do these type of things unless you're going to stick with them. So this is likely how they're going to line up against the Colorado Avalanche tomorrow night in the game number 6, the final game of their homestand. Now, we start with the goaltenders, and Kevin Lankinen was once again absent from practice. Apparently there's a flu going around. That's why both Lankinen and Forbort were not available last night. Could have probably used both of them, to be honest with you. So Lankinen not at practice. So it was Demko and Shilov's in net. There's no way Shilov's plays tomorrow night. So unless Lankinen makes an amazing recovery or has a really good skate tomorrow morning or whatever, maybe it's Demko in net tomorrow. Demko, I thought he was okay last night. He wasn't obviously amazing, but I don't think all the goals were his fault either. It's somewhere in the middle, of course. But I think people out there were a little more critical critical of Demko than I was. But maybe that's just my positivity coming through. So look to see Demko in net tomorrow, but we might hear an update on Lankinen before tomorrow night's game. Then we'll continue with the D-Pairings. I guess we'll go from the goaltender out today. And we saw the D-Pairings go into a blender throughout last night's game as the Canucks looked for any way to stop the bleeding. So this is how they practiced today. It was Quinn Hughes with Noah Juulsen on the top pair. Soucy and Myers reunited on the second pair. And your two third or fourth pairs, whatever you want to call them, Forbort with Friedman and Brandstrom with Desharnais. Now, really quickly, Juulsen has played with Hughes in the past. The results have not been terrible, to be honest with you. Anytime you have Hughes as the quarterback of the line, the pairing, you should be fine. But Juulsen has played with Hughes before, and I'm not sure if it's so much of rewarding Juulsen as opposed to putting Soucy and Myers back together. Now, Soucy and Myers were good last year. They had a bad start this year, and then they started to pick up their games respectively when they were split up, basically when Myers had to get elevated to the top pairing with Hronek's injury, and then Soucy played a bit with Juulsen, a bit with other guys. But they're going to try Soucy and Myers. By the way, I was at the game last night, Canucks versus Bruins, and both Soucy and Myers had really tough games. Actually, the whole defense had a tough game, except for, I think Hughes was certainly noticeable in a good way. Then Forbort Friedman's interesting because Mark Friedman, everyone loves him. Everyone loves the way he works and he contributes. At least bottom line, he's a good team player. And Forbort, he's still the guy that we want to see more of. He got into one game and then he missed practice because of the flu. So let's see if he missed last night's game because of the flu. So let's see if he gets in tomorrow. And then Brandstrom and Desharnais. Desharnais we know to be on the outs with Rick Tocchet right now. And Brandstrom did not have a good game last night. He was great when he first came up, a bit of a revelation. Then his plays really dropped a lot in terms of quality since then. So my guess is they play Forbort Friedman if Forbort's healthy over Brandstrom Desharnais tomorrow night, but we shall see. And then the forwards, it gets even more intriguing with them. So the new top line is, we saw it in the third period last night. It was JT Miller, Brock Boeser, and Connor Garland. I'll go through these four lines. I'll talk about each of them. So Miller, Boeser, Garland. Then you have Pettersson with DeBrusk, and now Max Sasson, and not Kiefer Sherwood. Sherwood, Suter, and Heinen as your third line, and then Bluger with Joshua and Hoglander on the fourth line. That means that, I guess, looking at this, that Atu Ratu he was assigned to Abbotsford, but it looks like he'll be up as I'm sure they'll bring him back tomorrow. You know how the Canucks like to do this sending guys up and down from Abbotsford, trying to get every cap advantage, cap savings that they can. So look for Ratu to be called up tomorrow because I think he's the only extra forward right now. So this is interesting. So the top line, you keep Miller and Boeser together, of course, because they should be stuck together. And then it's actually Connor Garland who, even last night, he was one of the only forwards that were really still hustling, making hits, getting involved in the play, and really, he was really noticeable last night in a good way. So I have no problem with Garland. You got two righties on that, so that's kind of interesting, but they put Garland with Miller and Boeser. Your second line, you keep PD and DeBrusk together. They were having great chemistry up until a couple games ago. So certainly not blaming them for the Canucks woes. But Max Sasson, this one's interesting. You put him up on their right wing, and Sasson has been nothing short of impressive since he's been called up a couple of weeks ago. He's at, I think he has 5 points in 10 games or something like that. I know he had 2 assists 2 games ago. He had his first goal of his career yesterday. And one thing about Max Sasson, when he scored, it was the 5-1 goal. So the Canucks were already losing by 5. His goal cut it to 4, the deficit to 4. But despite it being the first goal of his career, you know, it was really good. He didn't like celebrate like crazy because you can tell he's a pro. He's smart. He understood that it was 5-1 with 10 minutes to go. So the Canucks weren't going to win that game. So he still gave, like he raised his arms or whatever, but it wasn't an over-the-top celebration. And I really, really respected that about Max Sasson. So Sasson, not just because of that, because he's been playing very well, a lot of energy, a lot of juice, as Tocchet would like to say. He gets rewarded by playing on the second line with Pettersson and DeBrusk. And I could see that it might be a nice jolt for Petey and DeBrusk. And I think Sasson will perform well in that position. Then our third line now is Suter, Sherwood, and Heinen. Sherwood and Heinen are used to playing on that third line. They actually had Bluger between them to start off the season, and that they played very well to start off the year. But now it's Suter in that third spot, because I don't think you want Suter playing on your fourth line. He simply has more offensive ability and potential than Bluger. So that's why Bluger's on the fourth line with Hoglander, who's been there before, and Dakota Joshua, who simply has not been effective since his return. I get it. It's been a great return in terms of what he's overcome, but the bottom line is now he's been in the lineup for the last 2 or 3 weeks. He has to start producing. So the fourth line of Bluger, Hoglander, and Joshua, I have no problem there. So a couple off-ice things, like I said, Atu Ratu signed to Abbotsford, but I'm sure he'll be back up tomorrow as insurance forward. And then you don't have, right now you have the 12 skaters, the 8 defensemen, and the 3 goalies. So there's your 23. Shelov's is emergency recall, so we'll see how that gets sorted out tomorrow. If he ends up going down, if Lankinen's fine, either to back up to start, and then Ratu comes back up, and you still have your roster of 23. And that's, of course, with Philip Hronek not on this roster right now. So Canucks fans, there we go. I would love your impressions on these new lines, these new D-pairings. What were your thoughts about last night's game? Didn't do a goal breakdown because I only do those when the Canucks win. But I will be doing a different type of breakdown video. I'll be recording it now right after, as you're watching this, or as depends when you're watching this, after I finish recording this one. I'm going to break down Jim Rutherford's interview on After Hours with Scott Oak and Ray Ferraro. Had a lot of interesting things to say, and I want to comment on what he had to say. So look for that video just between 1:30 and 2 p.m. today. But for now, enjoy this video and love to know your comments down below. And 11 o'clock, my usual Sunday night live stream right here on this YouTube channel. Hope you can join me then. Shout out to my sponsors, Van City Experts Real Estate, Coach Patrick Liu, weight loss coach. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Tristyn Tallio, legendary Harry Ma, and legendary Andrew Chang. Yes, we have 4 legends on this channel. I'm so grateful. Also grateful for the Hall of Fame and franchise members as well. And thanks to all of you for watching, liking, subscribing. On your way out, like the video, subscribe. You can leave a donation. And definitely leave a comment down below your thoughts on these new lines and new D-pairings. Look for my Jim Rutherford breakdown video, and I hope to see you tonight at 11 p.m. for my live stream. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. God bless, and go Canucks go.